Hey everybody, mini message for the day comes from Genesis 22. We're going to start in verse 4 today. We're finally done with verse 3. It just took us 3 days. So let's see how long it takes us to get through this section. Let's start with verse 4. On the third day, Abraham looked up and saw the place in the distance. He said to his servants, "Stay here with the donkey while I and the boy go over there. We will worship and then we will come back to you." So I just want to stop there and just look at verses 4 and 5 today. So Abraham came to this place on the third day of travel. As we talked about yesterday, this is Mount Moriah, or the area right around. It's oftentimes referred to as the mountains of Moriah. So we know this is in that general area of Jerusalem. And if you didn't watch yesterday's, I'd really encourage you to go back and watch that, because I give you kind of my thoughts on the actual location and even some of the symbolism that we're seeing running through Scripture here. But they finally get there. And he tells his servants to stay behind. Stay here with the donkey while I and the boy go over there. We will worship and then we will come back to you. Now, a couple of interesting things happening here. First off, we will worship. Now, if you go back and you read through the book of Genesis so far, this is the first use of this particular word for worship in the Bible. And it's the word shakah. And it literally means to bow down. It's the first use of this phrase in Scripture. So Abraham and Isaac didn't go to the mountain to have a joyful celebration, a joyful praise, but they did go to bow down to the Lord. And understand, I think sometimes we think of worship. We think of corporate worship. We think of celebration. And that's a part of corporate worship when we sing and we celebrate who God is. But worship can also be solemn. Worship doesn't always involve happiness. Worship is about bowing down before God and surrendering to Him and saying, "Lord, not my way, but your way." There's moments where we worship God where we're not necessarily joyful, where we might not be excited about what's happening in our life at this moment. But that doesn't matter. We still continue to worship God through even those moments. We follow Him through those things. Abraham wasn't excited about the task that God had given him. I mean, who would be? But yet he says, "I still go to worship." So I think what you can take from this small little bite of this is, don't let your worship of God be dictated by your emotions. Let your worship of God be dictated by the truth of who He is. And whatever is happening in your life in that moment, that doesn't lessen God's worthiness to be worshiped. Follow Him and worship Him, good times and bad times. See you guys again soon. Have a great day.